Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Jay from Coding with Jaybird, where I upload weekly tutorials to help build your confidence in coding. Today we're going to be learning about floats and clears. Let's have a look, shall we? Now for today's demonstration, I've set up two parts. In the beginning, I'm going to have a look at these 5 divs, which I've given the IDs of box 1 through box 5. And if we look at the styles.css, we'll see there's some basic styling to them all. I've given each one a set height and width and different background colors. So these are our 5 boxes. Now what I want to do is I want to use these 5 boxes to demonstrate what a float means and what it does when you apply float to a particular element on a web page and how it changes and moves on the web page itself. So let's start by applying the float property to our first box. So in our first box, I'm going to say float, and that's the property name, and the value that I'll give it is left. Now before I save, let's see, what do we think is going to happen? Now I'm anticipating when I float this to the left, maybe this box is going to move somehow. So when I save it, the box didn't move, it's still in the same position, but now the pink box, or rather this magenta that was sitting under it or just below it, has moved and I don't see it anymore. So let's see what's really happening behind the scenes. If I apply an opacity of, let's say, 20% to the yellow, we're going to see that the magenta box is actually sitting underneath it. So if I comment that opacity out again, we'll see that the yellow block is in fact on top of that magenta block. So what's happening? Well, what a float does is it takes whatever element you're applying the float left onto and it moves it to the farmost left corner of its container. So this box is a div which is sitting inside the body container. So it's moving it to the far leftmost corner of the body. Now, the reason that our box is stacked in the first place, one on top of the other, is because they're divs. And because they're divs, divs are block level elements and they naturally take up an entire length, or rather width, of the web page. Okay, so now that we've seen what a float left does, let's see what would happen if I applied a float left to the next element. So let's leave this 20% opacity, commented out for now, and let's apply a float left to our second box. That's interesting. What it did was it took the magenta box and it moved it right next to our yellow box. And now the box that was originally light green has disappeared. So let's comment this opacity back in, and now we'll see that the green is actually underneath the yellow. Okay, so what's happening behind the scenes is when we float an element, we're actually lifting it out of the document flow. And what I mean by that is, imagine you have this web page here, and now imagine this is like the surface of a table, and then you've got all these squares sitting on top of it. When you float an element, you're basically lifting it off the table, so kind of raising it up in the air and holding it above the rest of the web page. So any elements that are underneath it just naturally slide up and take into that position, or move into that position rather. So let's put this opacity back as a commented item, and then now we'll see our yellow. So really what we've done is we've said, okay, take the yellow and take this yellow box and lift it off the page, and then also take magenta and lift it off the page, so lift it upward in the air, and then move them to the leftmost side of their container. So the yellow moved up here, and then the magenta moved to the next most left position, which naturally was right after the yellow. So now using that theory, let's see if we did the same thing and we did our float of left to our light green. Well, I would expect the light green is also going to move up here. And there you go. So this left box is lifted off the web page. So in that Z index, it's lifted upward into the air, and it's going as far left as it can, which is basically to the left side of where the body element sits. And then right next to it, we've moved the magenta into the next leftmost position. And then we've moved this light green box into the next leftmost position. Now, what if we tried to apply a float right on this light green box? Look at that. Our green box has moved all the way to the right. So once again, to the rightmost position of its container, so of the body element. And again, if I put this opacity of 20% back in on the yellow, we're going to see that the blue that was actually sitting down here has moved up into that position. So it's almost like this yellow or rather this gold, magenta, and light green box aren't even on the web page. We can see them because we're looking from top down, but it's like they're not even on the page. And any of these other divs that were vertically stacked are now sliding upward into the topmost position. Okay, so let's apply a float left to our fourth box to see what would happen next. And now you can see that this plum box has moved up to the topmost part of the web page. Now, if I comment out this opacity of 20% on our first box, we can see that we have our gold box followed by the magenta, followed by the blue box. So all these boxes are stacking to the leftmost position, and our light green box is still stacking to the right. Now let's try applying a float left to our last box, which is the plum box, or box 5. So I'll say float left. And now we know the plum box is sitting under this yellow box. So when I apply a float left to it, it also naturally moves up, so kind of like lifting off the web page, and moves to the leftmost position of its container. So now it's stacking, we're sitting right next to the blue box. All right, now what if I change this float left and I move the float left from left to a float right? We can see that the plum box now moved to the right, and we have this gap in between. Okay, so that basically demonstrates what's happening with floats. Now, floats were useful back in the day when we wanted to style our web pages and move the content around. Now, it's not the ideal way to move elements around, but it's still important that we learn how to use floats and clears so that we can work on legacy web pages, or, once in a while there might be a use case where you may want to float something. Now, there are other methods such as Flexbox, and I'll get into other methods for styling and moving content around in later playlists. Okay, so let's have a look at the second portion of the web page. Now, I'm going to use the second portion where I've got this H2 tag of ocean life. I have an image followed by a big paragraph here and 2 other images. So I'm going to use this section to demonstrate how we apply a clear onto our float and what a clear really means. All right, so let's go back into our CSS and see what we can do. I'm going to start by applying a float to all of these images. Now, typically I wouldn't be doing that. It's just more for demonstration purposes to show you what would happen if I floated these images. Okay, and I think I might even comment out these divs just to kind of raise this content up. So let's go in our index.html and just comment these out for now. I can put them back in later. So now I'm going to try applying float to these 3 images. Now they're already sitting on the left side of the page, so you're probably thinking, well, we're not going to change much. But let's have a look to see what's really happening behind the scenes. The images stayed to the left, but now this text kind of moved up and wrapped to the right side of this image. So what's really going on? Well, if you have a look at this in our HTML, we see we've got this image, and we float this image to the left, and then we've got this P tag, and this P tag is what's moved up. So behind the scenes, what's really happening is this image is being lifted off the web page, and then this text is ideally going underneath the image. But text is kind of funny that way. A text block won't actually go under a floating item, but the paragraph is still going under that floating item. Well, if we open up our dev tools, so let me just kind of slide this over and open up our dev tools on the right, we can have a look inside to see where's this P tag. So I'm going to scroll down and highlight the P tag. And if you look at that, the P tag is actually selecting this entire box, and it's going underneath the image itself. So that tells me that the P tag is actually taking up the entire space, even under the image. However, text naturally will not go under a floating item. So it looks kind of funny, and that's just what floats are. They're kind of weird and funny in their own way. They do these strange things, and that's why you'll see a lot of developers just getting very frustrated working with floats, and it's just one of those things. You kind of have to learn the quirks or the ins and outs of floats. All right, so we have this P tag, which really is going underneath the entire lifted or floated image, and then the text is wrapping around it. Now you can see in this responsive mode, these 2 images are also stacking left to right. Now when I close this, we can see here they are left to right. So they are floating up in position, But when I kind of go back to a narrower screen, we're going to see that the images go one on top of the other. And that's just because the image is too wide and there's no room for it here. So it has no choice but to drop down to the next position. Now, what if I wanted to do something different? What if I said I want to float the images to the right? Now we can see all of our images moved over to the right, and the text now is on the left side wrapping around this top image. So once again, let's open up the Dev Tools here, and let's have a look at the P tag. And we'll see that the P tag, once again, is going underneath the first floating image. So the same rules apply. Now in this demo, you can see I've called it floats and clears. So what does a clear mean? Now let's take our P tag and apply a new property called clear onto it, and we'll give it a value of both. And let's see what happens. So our images stayed to the right, and now our paragraph tag dropped down. So what's happening? Well, we're basically saying take the float of right and clear it. So kind of negate it or cancel it out. So undo it. So allow that image to be floated to the right, but on this P tag, just cancel that float. So imagine it's not there and act normally. So now the paragraph is behaving normally. And if we open up our Dev Tools and we have a look at this P tag, we're going to see it's actually sitting underneath the image. Now the two images after it are still being floated to the right. And that's because we're not applying the clear both to the images. It's still listening to this float of right. Now I want to show you one more thing. If I were to just comment this out, so basically negate this float of right on our images, and also let's get rid of this paragraph, clear both. Okay, so I've reset everything back to how it originally was. And now let's say I want to take my clown image and I want to just make that a floating image to the left. So I'm going to float this to the left. And now our text is naturally going to wrap up. And then let's say I take my next image, which is my tang fish, so my tang ID, and I float this to the right. Let's see what happens. So this first image of our clownfish moved to the left, our text wrapped up around it, which we expected, and then this next image, our tang image, moved all the way to the right. Now we would expect it to look like this, but what's going to happen when I expand this page a little? So let's see. Oh, now this image of the coral reef has moved to the left of the tang. And if I expand it a bit more and keep going, now we're going to see the paragraph tag and the coral reef are sitting between both the images. So floats are kind of funny and they do some strange things. And what we've basically done is we've said, take this first image, lift it out of the document flow or the flow of the document, move it as far left as possible, and then have the text wrap around it and any other subsequent content around it. Similarly, we've taken this image of our yellow tang, we've lifted it or removed it from the flow of the document, moved it as far as possible, and then the rest of the content is naturally falling under it. All right, so that's basically it for floats and clears. I know it's a bit of a complicated topic. It's not the easiest thing to understand, and there's days where even I make mistakes when I play around with my web pages and try to move elements around, especially when you're dealing with text or, different block level elements with different colors or in images which naturally behave as inline elements. Strange things start to happen, but that's just what floats and clears are all about. Now, I didn't say this earlier, but you could actually apply a clear of right or a clear of left if you wanted as well. So in that in-between portion of the demo where I had this image or all the images floating to the right, I had applied a clear of both. I could apply just a clear of right to specifically negate or cancel out the right float property. Or in the case of floating left, if I had floated all my images to the left, I could then on my paragraph tag apply a property of clear, left. And that would negate the left float that just followed before this or came before this. Now the easiest thing to do is basically just clear out all of your floats. So I like to just say clear both. It makes it easy. You don't need to think about if you're clearing your right float or your left float. So most of the time that's what I find I end up using is when I want to just get rid of my floats, I get rid of them both. All right, so that's basically it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson on floats and clears. If you have, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date with new videos. Now, I do have a few more videos coming up before I wrap up this playlist, so stay tuned for those. And if you have any suggestions for any other videos or playlists that you'd like me to work on or make for you in the following weeks, please leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you, and it'd be great to have an idea of what my audience is really interested in learning about. Until next week, keep on coding.